DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome to DJNTV and Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe. Now introducing the one and only Ben Stowe.
Yeah, baby! Yeah. Good evening and welcome to Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe, where we find answers. But wait, no one sent a question in. Crap. Maybe we should do something.
Good show. Good night, everybody.
Maybe we'll do something completely different tonight. We will make stuff up.
Yeah, we've never done that
Never done that before. That'll be a first time. So, actually, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the eve of heading to Las Vegas for the first ever DJNTV DJ Convention. And what I wanted to do tonight, Ben, is just kind of talk a little bit for the people who have never prepared to make a journey like this. Not that attendees, a lot of people are attendees, but from the professional side. And specifically, I want you to kind of go on for two ways. Is one as an exhibitor and what it takes to get there. Secondly is as a presenter. You've presented around the country in remote locations, and what it takes to get there in that capacity, since you'll have two really different perspectives to kind of dig into tonight. So that's the show. You go. I'm going to go take a nap.
All right. Well, let's see. I think there's a couple different ways we could approach this, but I will say that if you want to be an exhibitor, I think the first thing you have to do, and Vegas is the perfect place for it, is you have to be willing to gamble. Trade shows can be extraordinarily expensive, and it's really not the cost of the show. It's not the booth fee, but you have so many factors: freight, airfare, meals, hotel, drayage. If there's local labor required for the booth, that sort of thing. So you have to be willing to outlay some risk. You have to have a high tolerance for risk.
You used a term, industry term, and I want you to define drayage, because for folks who don't know.
Drayage is essentially a fee that you pay to have forklift drivers or freight handlers in the venue, often part of the decorator company, and they will bring your freight from the loading dock to your booth space on the floor, and then they'll take your empty pallets and things back into storage. And what's crazy about this is it often costs more to have your freight brought from the loading dock to the floor than it does to have it shipped across the country.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Sometimes by a lot. But in many cases, it's really convenient and it's nice to have this service. But one of the aggravating things is it's often also not optional.
Mm-hmm.
So, that can be really frustrating when you say, wow, that's $12,000 and I don't have a choice, but that's the way it is. So anyway, that obviously when you're bringing in, big structures, trussing, speakers, that kind of thing, it gets worse. But I think the other thing that as an exhibitor you have to do is you have to make sure that you're bringing something that is appropriate and relevant for the people that are attending the show. It's sort of like playing a bad hand. If you're a bad gambler, you're going to lose a lot, right? If you're bad at playing table games, you're going to lose a lot. So obviously we try to make sure that, one, we're making the best use of the people who are coming's time. We're trying to make sure we use the best use of our own time and those financial resources. So
sure.
That being said, we're excited about being at PBX. We're excited about that. I'm actually really excited because I'm not exhibiting. Our company is. NLFX will be there. Kat and Katie will be there. And they are two different people, by the way. I just put that out there. Kat and Katie. They both have the initials KLC, but they are two different people. Anyway, they will both be there. And me, I'm just going to be hanging out. I'm going to be I'm really enjoying the fellowship and the community.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as what I have to do to prepare for this show, I don't have to do much. But Kat, who's our marketing director, she does a fantastic job. Obviously, she's coordinating, what's going on pallets and, what product's going to be there and how the booth is going to look and how, again, we can serve best the people that are there. So that's how you might approach it from an exhibitor standpoint. And then of course there's a matter of coordinating freight and flight and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, because there's times where you have, not maybe you specifically, but some exhibit spaces at these DJ shows will have a dozen people. And then to be able to correlate schedules and making sure that people are on flights and doing their things. I know just in the few people that I've been working with this year's show, I can't imagine having to do everything and getting most of the, it's like, okay, just get yourself there. It's, that was my method of handling it. But in Kat's world, she has to be the one to get them there.
One year we brought 17 people to Mobile Beat, and that was actually, it leads to a really funny story. Sorry, I just got to respond to the quick message here. Anyway, so a really funny story from this one year. This is one of the great things about flying out of a small airport, and this was I was heavily involved in the logistics of getting everybody there, and there were some flight disruptions, and we have small planes that leave out of Bemidji, and so we were going to get split up a little bit. Anyway, I got to the airport, and I just parked at the curb outside the airport, and I ran in real quick and dropped off some stuff that was in the car, and I said, okay, you carry this and you carry this, and checked on everybody, and my mind was satisfied that everything was in good order. And went through security and got on the plane. Well, when I landed in Minneapolis, which is, of course, all flights from Bemidji just go to Minneapolis, and then from there we can go to the world. When I landed, I had a text message from my wife, and she said, "Where's my car?" And I said, "Well, it's at the airport." And then she asked the next question, which everybody who has a spouse knows that when they ask a question like this, they already know the answer.
Yeah.
She says, "Where at the airport?"
No.
I had forgotten the car at the curb outside, got on the plane, took off. And fortunately, it's a small town and it's a small airport. They actually just, instead of towing the car, they called her and they said, "Yeah, your idiot husband left the car. So would you please come get it so we don't have to tow it?" Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a travel story. So I think, when you talk about prepping to go as a presenter, there's both the being requested as a presenter part, and then there's the going as a presenter, and you can't put the cart before the horse. Obviously, first you have to have something of value. You have to bring something to the table, or the show isn't going to ask you to present. I mean, I might be the lone exception there. They asked me anyway, but I think that's step one. It's sort of like the old saying, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. So, develop your brand, develop your knowledge, develop something of value so that the attendees will, be willing to listen to you. And maybe let's go crazy and say they might even want to listen to you,
Look forward to it. Yes.
Yeah. First is willing, but anyway, but then of course, it's interesting because for me, this show in particular, preparing to go as a presenter obviously means, creating and preparing content, which continues to evolve. In this case, both for the masterclass, which I'm really excited about. We're going to cover some really awesome stuff there. But then also for the keynote, which I'm also really excited about. I think we're going to cover some really meaningful and necessary things there as well. So I'm pretty excited about both parts, but they're distinctly different. And so I'm preparing both of those things. And in the midst of that, I've got sound this week for Engelbert Humperdinck. He's still around.
Nice.
Still rocking or whatever. I don't know if he rocks, but he's still singing.
Performing.
And then I've got sound for comedy on Saturday. We've also got what's called the Frozen Block Party this week, which is basically an excuse to go outside and party in the middle of the winter. So we've got outside stages and trusses and that sort of thing. And anyway, and then Sunday morning at 5 a.m., I'm on a plane. So for me, you might say, well, what should you bring to Las Vegas? And I would say, well, probably clean underwear is a good start. You don't want plenty of that. But it's interesting because I think for a lot of people, packing is more of a process. And, for me, I don't think this is an exaggeration that if somebody, blew a whistle and said, "Hey, you've got 2 minutes to be out of your house, some emergency or some crisis," I'd be like, "No problem." I don't need 2 minutes. I can pack a bag pretty fast. But it's just a matter of repetition. It's a matter of just like doing your DJ shows or anything else that you do repetitively, you develop kind of a system.
Yeah.
So.
And after a while, you learn that, I'm just not going to take this little bag, the little toiletry bag. I'm just not taking it apart anymore. It's going to just stay. And then
it's funny you say that because mine does. It just moves from my bathroom to my bag, basically. I don't have 2 toothbrushes and 2 of this. I have one bag and it moves,
It goes and stays fairly close together. All the pieces are within range of each other. So at the end, it's like, gum.
Oh, very close. Yep. And exactly. Just boom, boom, and my wife gets most of the credit, honestly, for the fact that I can pack so fast because she's done a great job of just organizing, the house and the closet and that sort of thing where I know where things are and I can pull them together very quickly. And so honestly, she probably gets most of the credit. But I would say for those who are not Vegas veterans, as we learned, my friend Donnie Lewis is only going to be making like his 2nd or 3rd trip out there.
Yep.
One thing to remember that even in the winter, it's still the desert. So it's pretty dry. Be sure to hydrate, drink lots of water. I'm far be it from me to tell DJs not to drink a lot of alcohol, but just, remember to drink lots of water too. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's a good thing. And I would say the one thing that I would tell people coming to this show in particular to prepare is to just come ready to have a good time. Come ready to just be amongst like-minded people and relish and embrace being with like-minded people, but also come ready to enjoy being around differently minded people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Allow yourself to be stretched and grown.
Yeah, because we do have, as looking at the attendee list that just came across the other day, and we have people in the DJ side from North and South America. I think we have a couple of European DJs who will be with us. And the photo booth side I think he has people from 30 or 40 different countries that come every year. So, I mean, there's a diversity there. And then, of course, they're from across the United States and across Canada. So there's going to be a feel of, East Coast, South, North, Midwest, everything is going to be there. So that diversity of being able to learn from people from similar markets and from completely different markets that's going to be there as an opportunity.
Yeah. Be sure to get lots of sleep. Ha ha.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, everybody knows what their speed is. So.
Yeah, Ron on Facebook asked, what's the chance of bringing a show to Canada? And, of course, there has been a couple of different DJ events in Canada, not correlating with Photo Booth Expo by any means, but there are a couple of things. And of course, the main driver of Photo Booth Expo is a Canadian resident. So you never say never. The crazy things happen every once in a while. So it could be something.
I spoke in Canada, and I started my presentation in Toronto by pointing out that I flew south
to get there
from the United States to speak in Toronto. And a lot of people got out their phones to fact check me. And you know what? I'm right.
What
I
is it
checked
about?
it before I put it in the presentation.
From Bemidji, it's like almost 125 miles further south.
Yeah,
somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah,
yep.
that's so crazy. It just doesn't seem right. But
Toronto's actually fairly far south when you look at it. It just you're right. It doesn't sound right, but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking.
There was another time somebody said on a forum, and I don't think they knew where I lived, and they said, "Hey, well, all right, well, if you think you can handle the cold, come up here and do a thing in Winnipeg." I said, Winnipeg's like 2 hours from here.
Exactly.
I live in Bemidji. Look, I wear plaid,
Yeah. This is our summer attire right here. And if it's not
exactly, this is a Minnesota tuxedo I've got on right here.
It's looking good. It's looking good.
This is actually a Hockey Day Minnesota shirt.
Oh yeah, look at that.
For those who don't know what that is, we play outdoor hockey in the winter. It's this big annual thing, and we had like minus 36 Fahrenheit. And people were playing hockey outdoors. Now, unfortunately, I'm told that Some of the college players suffered frostbite, and I think one high school kid even had a toe amputated or something.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are scary, dangerous temperatures. But these kids just were not going to be denied. They were like, no way, we're playing. You know?
Yeah. That's an exciting, fun experience for them. And not that every hockey game is played outside in Minnesota. Most of the places.
No, that's why it's special, because everything's all artificial on the ice now. But yeah.
But there's occasionally that they have a big thing, and they'll, whether it's in Minneapolis or throughout the state, they've got different spots where they'll have the hockey day like that. It's pretty cool.
We do a lot of outdoor rinks up here, though, which is pretty cool. You know, kids will go outside and just play on an outdoor rink with natural ice. You know, which is not my cup of tea. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I like it nice and warm, but
okay, just kind of following the chat here a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So for the folks who haven't been following along too terribly much with what you're going to be, you mentioned, of course, you're doing the keynote. Give them kind of a little 10,000 foot view of what you're going to be talking about Monday as part of the keynote.
Well, the topic, the name of the presentation, which I think that's public, is "It's not business, it's personal." And that's sort of a malappropriation of the phrase from The Godfather, you know, where he says, you know, "It's not personal, Sonny, it's strictly business." And so I think I think that's been taken to mean different things in business, and business has become in many ways impersonal, or at least the perception that that's how business should be, you know, and that there's, for some reason, business can't be personal or shouldn't be personal. And I'm going to really just tip that right on its head and say, no, if you're doing it that way, I think you're doing it wrong.
Right.
I think there's a lot of benefits to doing business personally. That there's a lot of elements to business that are deeply personal, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's actually a really good thing. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about some of the opportunities and the challenges of how taking your business personally can be really good for your business, but more importantly, can be good for you. Good for your soul, as it will be, good for your, your heart, or, whatever, but just good, you know?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And I think there's a lot of us, we've talked about this on our different shows, that people who have been to the Ben Stowe tech presentations and have enjoyed our time listening to that side of it, but this will be something completely different.
Well, yeah, because, not to sound, however, I guess this might sound glib or cliche or whatever, but there is a lot more to me than just a tech nerd.
Right. There's
Star Wars. Doubt that I have a solid technical skill set. Sorry, I feel like I missed a smart.
You did miss my Star Wars reference there.
Oh well, let's hear it again, because sometimes Zoom cuts out our mics.
So yeah, I was just gonna say, if there's more to you than that, there's also Star Wars.
Oh yes, well, and there's that too. And I think, and there's Star Wars, and there's ice cream, and but there's a lot more than that too.
Right.
I remember now, of course, we're jumping into the deep end of the pool, but I remember recently somebody posted on some forum and they said, you should be like Ben. He doesn't even have a political opinion. Oh, that's not true. I do. I have, all kinds of beliefs and convictions and thoughts. And I read the news a lot. And I read countering viewpoints. I think somewhere in the midst of all that is the truth. This story and that story and this story and this story, and somewhere in the midst of all that's the truth. And so I'm a fairly, I would like to say, open-minded person who's kind of trying to look somewhat analytically at things. And in the course of this, you develop positions and you develop opinions, and those things move. Now, we're not going to get into any of that in the presentation, because I think there's some things that should just kind of be left out of the public eye.
Yeah.
Although, like we said yesterday in the chat, that's one of the things that I really think we've lost as a species, is the ability to disagree agreeably, to say, I don't agree with you, but that's okay. We can still be friends. I think you're completely wrong, but we can still be friends, and we can talk about it. And in the middle of that, maybe your position changes, maybe my position changes, maybe nobody's position changes, but that's the beauty of what we have here. With our democracy, the freedom of thought and the freedom of speech. So,
yeah. And as you say, that's kind of a lost part. Most people, it's like, you either like what I say or I like what you say, or we can't be friends.
Yeah, there's a lot of, everybody's kind of being drawn to the edges right now, the deeply polarized, you're either for us or against us. And that saddens me a little bit. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I guess the point is there's a lot more to me than just a tech nerd, just a robot. And I think that honestly, I think a lot of that is the reason that my business is successful is that I do take it personally.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit, how taking your business personally can be a very good thing.
And then on Tuesday, you'll be doing the audio masterclass and digging into some different audio topics. I just wanted to let you know that the plutonium shipment made it today for that. But kind of give, again, a little overview of what some of the things you're going to be talking about on Tuesday.
I was just thinking, I wonder if it was South Point that I did the angle grinder demo.
Angle grinder. I don't think I've
done a few things over the years.
The angle grinder. I didn't see that one, so that could have been South Point, because that was the year I had missed, was when Mobile Beat was at South Point.
Well, I'm trying really hard to kind of put some of these things in my past. Not because I don't think they're great things. They were great things, but I'm trying not to get banned from Vegas. We took an amplifier. Remember those before powered speakers, a rack mount amplifier? And we fed a 60 hertz tone into it, which is the same frequency as electricity in the wall operates at. And we cranked that thing to 11. And we plugged in a construction angle grinder. And we got a volunteer from the audience who was not a plant. Worked out really good. The guy actually was a construction worker. So I was like, oh, good. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I don't get somebody who's never had an angle grinder and they rip their arm off. But this guy was great. And we gave him a piece of rebar and he went at it and ran this angle grinder with an amplifier. And of course we talked about all kinds of things like back EMF and damping factor and those kinds of things that amplifiers, have to deal with a load like a motor, which, a loudspeaker is not entirely unlike a motor. It's a reactive load. It's also generating electricity as it's using electricity. And anyway, the best were the photos of sparks flying 15 feet.
Yeah, that I remember seeing.
Shooting sparks. And you can just imagine, here comes the hotel.
These are early generation sparklers.
Yes.
These are going to be hot in about 3 or 4 years or 10 years.
They had to run me out the back door. So, the master class won't be quite that adventurous, but we are going to do a lot of hands-on stuff. It's a smaller room, and I'm really excited about that. We're going to, of course, John, you and I've had to lean on you for some of the props I need and things, getting those things out there. And we're going to do some hands-on stuff, a bit more, there'll be some PowerPoint slides, of course, but a bit more experimental and, a little bit more just kind of interactive, as it were. And we're going to talk about things like feedback elimination, EQing, which kind of goes hand in hand with that. Gain structure also kind of goes hand in hand with that. Probably the single most important thing you can do with your gear, by the way, is gain structure. It's going to get more out of your speakers before clipping and limiting, and it's going to sound better. And I sure hope I have this cough gone by then.
Yeah, you and me both. That's what the cold from last Friday it's the cough.
Thank goodness you got your voice back. I thought after I saw you on Friday, I thought, if I lose my voice, I'm really going to be ticked off at you.
Exactly. That's why I was keeping distance. It's like
many people know that my daughter's hard of hearing, and I've been trying to learn sign language, but I do not know it well enough to give a speech, nor do I think most people know it well enough to understand said speech. So
probably not so much in that room. No.
Also in the audio masterclass, we're going to do a little bit of some advanced wireless stuff. I'm going to bring an RF analyzer and we're going to just sort of take it live as it goes. We're going to see what's in the air in Las Vegas, and then we're going to talk about how we might manage having multiple wirelesses operating in that environment. We're going to talk about things like intermod, and I'm actually going to demonstrate that, hopefully hands-on,
Nice.
So I'm kind of excited about that. I think a lot of people watch our shows and they've seen that I've done 8 college football championship games now and tours, and how do you manage high wireless channel counts in crowded RF environments? Well, we're going to show you. We're going to get right into it. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be good. And I think having a smaller group like that's going to allow a bit more agility, a little bit more flexibility, where, you can kind of look at a group, and if there's, 20 people in the group, you could say, is this what you want to know? No? All right, let's just scrap this. Let's do something else, I can zig if you zag. So.
Yeah. Well, that should be fun. That should be a good experience and a time for people to be able to watch what you're working through, ask questions as you're doing it, and take it in directions that will be helpful. So that'll be a great.
Yeah, we got 2 hours to just kind of nerd out. Now, have you I don't want to spill the beans. Have you told people about the extra bonus for the?
I have not yet. That was actually
Okay.
going to be kind of where I was going to use that to kind of wrap up or getting towards the end here of the. Because I was just
All right.
looking at the box, and I'm thinking to myself, who would have, how many Marty McFly hats could a person have?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
So for those people who are attending the workshop, you have a special.
Masterclass, yep.
You have a special little bonus.
I do, because I thought if there's one thing you just can't get enough of, it's Ben Stowe. So
That's exactly where I would have gone with that too.
yeah, what does the actually here's a true story. So one of the last tours I was on, and I don't remember exactly. I remember exactly which tour it was, but I don't remember exactly where it falls in the line. I'll just tell the story. One of the last tours I was on, and it's a group of guys that I've become friends with, and we really enjoy each other. And the hard work is made much more enjoyable by being with people you have a lot of fun with.
Right.
And there were 2 buses on this tour, and some of the management and lead singers and those people are on what we called the star car, which is a nicer bus with bigger bunks and fewer bunks.
Mm-hmm.
And then tech and musicians were on the other bus, and we have the standard 12 bunk bus. And so when the tour manager comes on our bus, it's maybe to tell us that we need to vacuum the floor or make sure we have enough food, or they don't care about the food. Who am I kidding? Anyway, he comes on the bus, and he hands me a gift, and it is a selfie stick.
Okay.
And he says, if there's, and of course I get a lot of grief because, on tour, I'm just, a cog in a big machine, and I'm not the cog that's on the stage, but they know that I have this alter ego that's giving presentations and educating and, have my own stage time.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit of grief for that, and he said, if there's one thing the world needs more of, it's pictures of you. And he hands me a selfie stick. So.
Gee, thanks.
Anyway, that's not what you're getting. You're not getting a selfie stick,
no.
But what you are going to get for the limited number of people till we run out, and I don't think I gave you that many, but we'll take them in the order that people sign up. Everybody until we run out is going to get a free copy of the Geek Bootcamp DVD, which has a lot of these things kind of segmented. We talk about electrical theory and decibels, and I brought in some friends, former state electrical inspector of 25 years, my friend Mike Cronin, who we know from the famous Cupcake episode,
Yep.
who is one of the best operations directors, I think, in the country. And we talk about some really useful skills and things that you can use to just make the technical side of your business better. Use it as a training tool if you're a multi-op. And in the inside cover of the DVD, it also includes a few useful charts and graphs and things that you can kind of use as reference. So while supplies last, and that's a $29.99 value, I think, if you go out and buy those on the interwebs or Best Buy or wherever they are. So you'll get that for free.
Yeah, that will be excellent for those folks coming in, because there's a lot of information, and it's not the kind of video where you sit down and you watch the whole thing in one sitting.
I mean, some people, Howie would.
Yeah, Howie would, and he would understand it all. It's one of those things that you have to take bites and digest.
It's chapterized.
You have to think about it and really utilize some of that information as you're going along. But there's some, I showed that the video that you guys did with the fireman with the extension,
yes.
The extension cord.
Right.
That is one of those, that visual or that whole experience of you doing that is one of those things that it stuck with me. And I passed that on to Michael and explaining what happened and showed that how that happened, or what happened with that situation. And now it's kind of burned an imprint on him too.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
I mean, that was the greatest thing. I think there's a lot of great content in the DVD, but certainly turning on a coffee maker with a cell phone long before that was cool, because the DVD is a few years old now. But yeah, I think the firehouse scene and the infrared camera that's worth the $30 right there.
Yeah, that was
Remind me if this is the DVD. I've shot a few, so I might be wrong here, but I think this is the one where we also measured the sound pressure level of a Zamboni.
Oh boy, I don't remember that.
I think we did, and I'll tell you what, I don't remember that. I don't remember if this got on the DVD, so I'll just tell the story, kind of a behind the scenes, if you will. So I'm sitting on the passenger seat of the Zamboni. The Zamboni driver is driving.
For
the
those who
Zamboni.
don't know, just tell what a Zamboni is, because there are people out there who probably barely understood us talking hockey.
Oh, Google it. It's a machine that shaves down the ice and makes clean, fresh ice between periods of hockey or figure skating or whatever. And so it's a big, heavy machine full of snow and water, snow that's scraped up from the ice, and then water that is about to be laid down to make new ice. And so this thing weighs a bazillion pounds. Yeah. It's kind of a scary machine when you're up close to it. It's almost like a farm implement.
Yeah.
Studded spiked tires to go on the ice, and our camera guy is laying on the hood. Now, of course, there are safety provisions at play here, but there's the camera guy doing what camera duct tape all the way around, doing what camera guys do. He's laying on the hood so he can film us as we're trucking along in this thing, and they go at actually a pretty good clip, and the Zamboni driver just decides it would be fun to honk the horn, which is like right at the camera guy, and just lights him up.
Oh no.
And I thought the guy was going off the hood. I'm like, oh no. Anyway, so there's so many behind the scenes moments from this DVD. I'm pretty sure that one didn't make the final edit, but anyway, I guess the first 20 or so people that sign up we'll find out. So.
Yeah, it'll be good stuff. Well, Ben, we're going to wrap things up kind of early tonight. I didn't want to go too terribly long. I just wanted to have a few moments to kind of give people a little insight as we're getting ready to go to Vegas next week, and hopefully a lot of you can join us. If you can still get tickets, they're available. If you want to find out more information about the show, go to djntv.com/show. The full schedule of all the people who are speaking and presenting, and the evening parties and such, that information's out there. If you want to check out the photo booth site, you can go to photoboothexpo.com. That has their agenda, I believe it is, what their link is, and everything's there also. So
if you don't have a ticket yet, I mean, just go. I mean, I know it's easy for me to say, but plane tickets, you found some crazy cheap deals.
Somebody
little travel advice, if you're going on low cost airlines like Allegiant or something, just, be advised, they charge for every little extra thing. And as long as you go prepared for that, no big deal. You can get a ticket to Vegas for probably like $50 or something. I mean, it's the one place it's cheap and easy to fly to for most people. Just go. Just go.
And that was one of the things with the President's Day going on yesterday. Some people were saying that they were getting airfare even for next week, still under $200.
Yeah,
which is absolutely crazy. But that's if there's a seat on an airplane, they'd rather sell it than to watch us have more room.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's another topic. But I'm sure you saw the guy who was punching the lady's seat.
Yeah,
and the internet seems to be really divided. Like do we have the right to recline?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just because the seat does recline, can you recline? I don't know. You know what? You know who I blame? I blame the airlines.
Oh,
I
for
this
sure.
is a problem completely of their making. But I try to be a good and courteous neighbor. But there was an interesting. I know I'm dragging the show on. I'm sorry, but interesting statistic I saw. It was based on the average American male at 5'8" has about 2 inches of leg room. And if somebody reclines, they no longer have leg room. And I think you're taller than me, but I'm 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
I don't have leg room.
No, we don't. Our knees are right there, and
my knees are touching the seat.
Mm-hmm. And when somebody comes back on that, and if your kneecaps are right in where those rails are, you're gonna be like, it's happening.
Yeah. Now you know what? I mean, I would never punch somebody's seat. I
might
try
be
to
do
move
a
my
wet
knees
willy.
to the side or wet willy. I mean,
yeah.
No, I mean, just I would never do that. But
Yeah.
when people recline in front of me, there's no way I can use my laptop at that point.
No, because it becomes a chest top.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already sitting with my knees, like this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, we're not going to get much done tonight.
But anyway, so
just for the airfare conversation.
I guess the moral of the story is plane rides are cheap. You should just get on one and go to Vegas.
$141 round trip to Vegas from Minneapolis right now, if you'd want to book to be there for the week. How many times does that happen when you're within 1 week of the show and it's still under $200 to get there? That's crazy.
I'm looking at my receipt for my flight right now.
No, you don't do that. That'll make us both feel bad.
Listen, y'all should just go. You're getting a way better deal than I did. So you should just go. Take advantage of these low fares and have some ticket prices and
hanging
come
out
be
with
part
us.
of the fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. So, Ben, I probably won't chat with you then until Sunday when we both are in Vegas. So have a safe trip and a safe journey. And thank you guys for being with us. We're going to be we'll be coming to you live from Vegas. I'm not exactly sure when and what we're going to be doing, but you're going to see little tidbits from a lot of our DJNTV team from Vegas, and just to kind of give you an update of what's going on and what kind of things you can expect in 2021 as we plan for the 25th anniversary of the DJ conventions going on in Vegas. That will be coming to you February 22nd through the 26th of 2021. Put that on your calendars and we'll get you more information about that later. Ben, have a great evening, my friend, and we will catch you later. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.